Okay, that is very dark. I'm willing to bet this has never been done. Welcome back to Lexus Revival Garage. My name is Mark, and today we're going to be showing you how to change your transmission fluid on your 2004 to 2006 Lexus LS430. To start off, it is critical the vehicle be on a level surface during the duration of this procedure. This is because at the end of the procedure, we'll be performing a fluid level check, and if the vehicle is not level, you will likely end up with the wrong amount of fluid in your transmission. This can lead to transmission damage and potential failure down the road. Here you see me using 4 jack stands to lift the car. The jack stands in the rear are using the typical jack points in the pinch welds of the frame. But since I needed the front jack points for the floor jack, I ended up using the rearward facing lower control arm brackets for the front jack stands, and this seemed to work well. First rule of thumb when you're doing anything that involves draining fluid and refilling fluid is to make sure that the fill plug is not seized, because if you drain the fluid and then you have no way to put fluid back in the transmission, you've got a problem. Dirty fluid is better than no fluid at all, right? So what we're going to do in this case, in any Toyota or Lexus vehicle that I've ever done the transmission fluid on, there is a cover over the fill port in some form or fashion. In the LS430 with a 6-speed transmission like this one, the fill port's on this side. Kind of hard to see up in there, but you can see this 10mm bolt right here. We're going to undo it and one other that's a little bit further up from it, so we can get access to our fill plug and make sure we can loosen that. So just bear with me here while I get this loosened. Now the other 10mm bolt, I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up because it's kind of way up in there, but it's right about here. Got it. And we are loosening that now. This is kind of a challenge to get to. The exhaust is here. Some heat shielding, not a whole lot of room to move around, but I've definitely dealt with worse. Okay, we have it loose, and this cover should just come right off now. And it kind of is, you kind of have to rotate it out of there. There we go. Perfect. Now you can see here is our fill plug. That is a 24mm. Bolt there, and we're just gonna loosen it, see if we can get that loosened, and we can. This is, from what I could tell, probably the first time this transmission's ever been serviced. So we're going to drain the fluid here in just a moment, and we're going to see what we're working with. Okay, now on these transmissions, a lot of folks refer to these as sealed transmissions, but these really aren't sealed, or else we'd have a lot more difficulty replacing the fluid. These transmissions have a drain port, a fill port, which we've already loosened, and then this over here is your check port. This allows you to go in and actually get the fluid level correct once you have your new fluid in the transmission. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and see what color our fluid is. Now this vehicle, I don't think I've mentioned it yet, has 195,000 miles on it. But long story short, yeah, we're changing the transmission fluid potentially for the first time on this 195,000 mile LS430 here. So let's see what we got. Okay. Got my drain pan right in front of the camera here, so I hope it does not splash onto the camera. Okay, that is very dark. I'm willing to bet this has never been done. Judging by the color, the smell's not that off from what the new fluid is though, which is good. This should drain about 2.5 quarts out. Okay, we are now at just slow drip, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe the area clean and replace the drain bolt. I do have a new crush washer. I'll put that part number in the description below. In we go. And at this point we're done with the drain bolt. We're not going to be using it anymore. So we can go ahead and get that tightened down. Now it's time to fill the transmission. One thing that's a very good idea to do, because transmissions require a very specific level of fluid to be happy. So very good idea, or a very good thing to do, is to get a bucket like this. I got this from Home Depot. This has quart measurements on the side. Like I said, it should drain out 2.5 quarts, but you know, stranger things can happen, right? So we're going to pour our fluid, and there it is again for color. Here. Actually, it only took out a little less than 2 quarts according to this. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 full quarts of new fluid in it, because, you know, the more new fluid we get in there, the better, in my mind. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that, and let's get back out of the car. Little lecture here on transmission fluid for just a couple seconds. When it comes to your transmission, obviously that and the engine are probably the two most high dollar items to repair in any vehicle. When it comes to transmissions in particular, please don't use a fluid that's a jack of all trades and a master of none. The 04 and higher LS's use Toyota World Standard fluid. I understand there may be fluids out there that are compatible or meet and or exceed the specification that Toyota requires for these transmissions, but I'm going to stick with what the car came with from the factory. The fluid is cheap, the transmission itself is not, so you decide what goes in your transmission, but in mine, it's getting the genuine stuff. Alright, so I have a pump connected up to the car's battery. And I've got the outlet end of the pump going into the fill plug of the transmission, which we looked at a few minutes ago. And all we need to do now, after a quick clean, is to stick this in our bottle and turn the pump on. Okay, that was the first bottle. 2 more to go. Okay, only one left. And we are done. Got to remove our line from the transmission. Gonna put our fuel plug bolt back on. Oh, I wish I had a lift. There. Okay, and we can't forget our cover here. Yeah, that little bolt up there on this cover, very hard to get to. Now that we have the fluid in the transmission pan, we need to do a level check. Now that's going to require the car remain on a level surface, and you have some sort of scan tool, some sort of method of verifying that the transmission is a certain temperature. On the 04 to 06 LS430, the temperature range for checking the fluid is 115 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to go ahead and start the car, let it idle until it gets to that temperature. Right at the beginning, it's probably also a good idea to go ahead and just cycle through all the gears. Make sure that fluid is in there good. Using whatever scanner you have, you'll want to let the car idle and let it idle until it reaches at least 115 degrees Fahrenheit, but does not exceed 130 degrees Fahrenheit. This can take some time, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So just keep an eye on it, and once it's in that 115 to 130 degree range, we're going to move on, and we're going to take the check bolt out and let the excess fluid drain out. The check bolt on the LS430 uses a number 5 Allen, so that's what you'll need to have in order to do this next part of the procedure. Okay, we are back under the car. Our scan tool shows that we are at 115 degrees. And we are going to open our check port. Be careful of all this exhaust, it's very hot. And when the check port opens, if we're filled correctly, there should be a decent stream at the beginning. And then we'll put it back when it goes down to a trickle. What do you mean? The fluid is not hot to the touch, it's just warm. There is our trickle. And now we're going to put the check bolt back on. Tighten that down. Okay, we are good. Let's test out this transmission fluid. So I guess it's a good thing I don't really detect all that much of a difference. I used to have a little bit of a shudder around maybe 2,000 RPMs in either first or second gear. That seems to have diminished some. I do believe it's shifting a little bit smoother, which is good because, like I mentioned, I think the fluid had never been changed. I'm going to guess that because of the color it was, and it smelled just a little bit off. Nothing too bad, but so far I'm liking the result of the transmission fluid change. I definitely recommend it. I have never really agreed with the whole premise of lifetime fluid, which is what Toyota claims the world standard fluid is. Toyota's definition of lifetime and my definition of lifetime are probably two different things. Toyota's definition of lifetime may be what, 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles? Lifetime to a lot of people may be legitimately the life of the vehicle, which, as we all know, these vehicles can last many, many, many more miles than 200,000. Well, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, and you liked what you saw, click that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I upload a new video. There's more from where that came from, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.